and welcome to another vlog. I hope everyone enjoyed their weekend. The new Star Wars film comes out this week, and we've already got our tickets, so I'm looking forward to that. This week's theme is nutrition. So, as usual, I'll be releasing a video on Thursday where I talk in more detail about what nutrition is. So subscribe if you want to see that video. Today there's a number of things I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about the process by which I choose topics for each video each week. I also want to talk a little bit about my personal nutrition regimen, and I want to provide you with some tips to manage your own nutrition. So let's jump right into it. So when I choose topics for videos each week, usually I'm looking for topics that somehow relate to people with disabilities. But they don't necessarily have to relate directly to people with disabilities. The main thing that I look for is a topic that has value for people with disabilities. And this week's topic, nutrition, is a really good example of that. Obviously, nutrition does not relate directly to people with disabilities, in the sense that it's not just people with disabilities who rely on nutrition to stay healthy. But the fact is, there are a lot of people with disabilities who do rely heavily on nutrition in order to stay healthy. And for that reason, I believe that this topic is valuable to people with disabilities, and that's why I'm talking about it this week. And that applies to a lot of the other topics that I've talked about in the past, such as advocacy and fundraising. Although they don't relate directly to people with disabilities, I definitely believe that there's value to those topics for people with disabilities, and that's why I talk about them. So if you watch a video that I make in which I'm talking about something that doesn't relate directly to disabilities and you're scratching your head, that's why. Um, so now I'm going to move on and talk a little bit more about this week's topic, which is nutrition. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I manage my nutrition. So because I have limited mobility, I can't do a lot of exercise. And for that reason, I basically rely entirely on nutrition to maintain a healthy weight and to stay healthy. Now, I'm only allowed to consume about 1,500 calories a day, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but for someone like me who's not expending a lot of energy over the course of a day, 1,500 calories is all I need. So I take care every day to make sure that I properly regulate my nutrition intake and that I don't exceed those 1,500 calories. I also try to keep my fat about 50 grams, and I keep an eye on my sodium and sugar levels as well. And I do a lot of that using my phone. Um, I have an app, Samsung Health, which I use to track my calories, and I found it very helpful. So some of what I do to properly manage my calories so that I don't go over my calories and I don't gain weight is the first thing that I do is I choose healthy foods. So I try my best to consume nutritious food like fruits and vegetables, but also to avoid non-nutritious food like pop and chips and chocolate and things like that. Now, I really like pop and chips and chocolate and that kind of stuff, so I do still eat them, but in moderation. Everything is about moderation. So for those of you who think, oh, poor guy, he doesn't get to eat any good food, don't worry, I do get to eat delicious food. I just eat it in moderation. Um, the other thing that I do is I try to make sure that I eat food from all the different food groups so that I'm getting all the nutrients that I need. That can be a little bit of a challenge because on the one hand, you want to make sure that you don't consume too many calories and too much fats or salt or sugar, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you're getting enough of your vitamins and minerals. So that can be a bit of a challenge, but by tracking what you eat and what your calories are, I find that makes it a lot easier. So those are some of the things that I do to maintain healthy calories and stuff like that. Um, and the last thing that a lot of people can do to stay healthy is to be active. But obviously, like I said, that doesn't really apply to me, where I don't have a lot of mobility, exercise isn't really an option. So that's why I really need to be careful with the nutrition and make sure that I follow those principles to the letter. So that brings me to the last thing that I want to talk about today, which is some tips that you can use to properly manage your nutrition. So there's 4 steps, I guess you could say, to a healthy lifestyle. And a lot of them are related to nutrition. So I'll go over those, what they are. So the first step is to choose healthy foods. Like I said, it's important to try to eat as many nutritious foods as possible, such as fruits and vegetables, and to avoid non-nutritious foods like pop and chips, chocolate, candy, just junk food in general. That's not to say that you can't eat it, but you should eat it in moderation so that you don't ingest too much fat and salt and things like that, because that can cause problems if you consume more salt and fat than what you're allotted during the day. The second thing is to, like I said, limit calories and fat, right? It's all about energy in versus energy out. You want to make sure that you're bringing the same amount of energy in and just taking in the same amount of energy as you're expending. So if you're expending 2,000 calories a day, that's how many calories you should be taking in each day. Um, and even fat, fat's not bad for you, but there is a certain amount of fat that you're supposed to have in the run of a day, and you don't want to exceed that. The same goes for things like salt and sugar, because too much salt can cause high blood pressure, sugar can cause weight gain and diabetes and things like that. So it's important to make sure that you're not consuming too many of one thing, to limit uh, how much you're taking in each day. The third step is to eat a wide variety of foods. So you should be trying to get foods from all 4 food groups. Your proteins, your fruits and vegetables, your grains, and your dairy, unless you're lactose intolerant, in which case then you should probably avoid the dairy. Um, and the reason you want to do that is so that you can get all the nutrients that you need. Because if you're only eating one type of food, it's going to be difficult to get all the nutrients that you need. As you'll see in Thursday's video, there's a lot of nutrients that your body requires. So it's important that you're eating lots of different foods so that you do get all of the nutrients that you need and that you get the right amount of them. So the last tip I have for maintaining a healthy lifestyle is to stay active. Now, as we've kind of discussed in today's vlog, that means different things to different people. For some people, staying active will mean a very intense activity level, but for some people, it will mean a very minimal activity level, and for others, it'll be kind of in the middle. So, you know, it depends a lot on both your physical abilities and also on your lifestyle. Like for me, I can't be very active because, as I've mentioned several times, I don't have enough mobility to do so. But someone who's a pro athlete will probably have a very intense activity level, and then a lot of people will just be kind of somewheres along the middle. So it is important to stay active as much as possible, but don't feel like you need to get out and overexert yourself every day. It's important to stay active, but within your own means and with your own abilities. So keep that in mind when you're out exercising, not to overexert yourself, because that could end up having some very negative results. So just take care of yourself when you're exercising. Anyway, those are the tips that I have for managing your nutrition and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. I hope you found them as useful as what I did. Um, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you on Thursday.